It's 2 a.m. Your house is completely still. The kettle's cold, the lights are off, and honestly, somewhere in the silence of your backyard, something is watching. It's not a predator, and it's not a stranger. It's something that knows exactly when your alarm clock goes off. It has memorized the weight of your footsteps. It's been tracking you, quietly, precisely for longer than you probably realize. See, you might think the birds just leave when the sun goes down. You assume they scatter into the tree line and forget you even exist until morning. But here's what's actually happening while you're asleep. They haven't gone anywhere. They're just sitting there, right above your eye line, tucked into the edges of your garden, and they're waiting. Not for the daylight. They're waiting for you. This is the part of the relationship nobody ever tells you about. Most people think feeding birds is just a simple act of kindness, a routine, a habit, a handful of seed, a dish of water. But what you've actually built between you and those birds, it's something way more layered, way more intelligent, and honestly, a little bit stranger than you'd expect. Just think about this for a second. You walk out your back door every morning and scatter some feed. The birds show up, right? You think they're just responding to the food. But what if they aren't? What if they're actually responding to you? To the specific rhythm of your life, the way your house settles, the habits you've been broadcasting for months. Here's the thing that most people completely miss. To those birds, your backyard isn't just a feeding station. It's a high-security sanctuary. And your presence isn't just an accident. You are the sanctuary. They've mapped your home the way a traveler maps a safe harbor. It's not just a place with food. It's a place where a known, trusted being lives. That's a spot worth staying near, even in the dark, even in the silence, even when there's nothing left to eat. They aren't just resting in your garden. They're logging your location in their mental map as a place of absolute safety. And that distinction, it matters way more than you think. Now, here's where things get interesting. Have you ever noticed that birds just seem to show up? Before you've even done anything, you step outside and they're already there at the feeder. You haven't made a sound. You've barely even moved. And yet they're there. It's almost like they were just waiting right out of sight. And honestly, they were. See, birds have these biological clocks that are just incredibly precise. Their internal rhythm is dialed in to within minutes, and over time, those clocks don't just sync up with the sunrise, they sync up with you. The low hum of the boiler kicking on, the way the light shifts behind your kitchen curtains, the specific familiar creak of your back door, that muffled sound of your alarm at 7:15 a.m. To them, those aren't just random background noises, that's your signature. It's a predictable sequence that tells them the food person is waking up. They aren't really waiting for the sun to hit the trees. They're waiting for that sequence, your sequence, to start. Which is why, on the mornings you sleep in, they wait a little longer. If you're up early, they're already there. They've basically built a map of your household rhythm, and they run it like clockwork. But here's the part that really hits home, the part nobody talks about. That program runs in reverse too. They learn when you stop coming. If your routine breaks, maybe you're traveling, or you're sick, or the schedule just shifts, they notice that absence. They aren't just tracking when you're there. They're tracking the pattern of your entire existence. Now, think about this. Flip it around. You've always assumed you're the one observing them. You think you know what they look like, right? But consider this. Do they know what you look like? And I don't mean just human or that tall thing that brings the food. I mean you as a distinct person. Your face, your walk, the energy you carry when you step outside on a Tuesday morning compared to a lazy Sunday. The science on this is actually wild. Studies on avian cognition, especially with birds like crows, but even common garden birds show they can recognize individual human faces with crazy accuracy. They can tell the difference between someone who's kind to them and someone who isn't. They remember. And they hold on to that information for seasons, but it goes even deeper than faces. Birds are super sensitive to your gait, the way your body moves through space. Your walking rhythm, your posture, all those little micro movements, that's your behavioral fingerprint. To the birds in your yard, you aren't just another human. You're a landmark. You're a known quantity. And that kind of recognition, it carries a weight to it that we're only just starting to understand. So here's the takeaway. The next time you walk out into your garden, realize you aren't walking out there as a stranger. You're stepping into a space where you are already known. Ever stop to think about what's actually happening out there? Most people never do. See, your emotional state on any given morning, it's being read. And I don't mean interpreted, it's being read with a level of precision most humans couldn't even dream of. Birds are absolute masters at picking up on micro movements, the speed of your walk, the way your shoulders are set, whether you hesitate before you bend down or if you move in one fluid, calm arc. Those aren't just invisible signals to them. To a bird that's been calibrated by millions of years of survival, your body is basically broadcasting exactly how you're feeling in real time. When you're moving slowly, when you're actually calm and present, they get closer. Their whole comfort zone expands. They'll land near you, hang out at the feeder a bit longer, maybe even hold your gaze for just a second more than usual. But when you're rushed, when your cortisol is spiking and your movements are all sharp and jerky, they recalibrate. They don't just fly off, necessarily. They just pull back. They adjust their safety margin. Your stress becomes their caution. It's wild, right? Your subconscious state is literally influencing the behavior of wild animals right in front of you. You aren't just the person filling the feeder. You're in a relationship with them. And that relationship has a texture to it. Shifts and changes based on your mood, your pace, your presence. They're reading you, and they're adjusting accordingly. But here's the part that really gets me, the part almost nobody realizes. Think about that 2 a.m. stillness. The birds are there, roosted, tucked into the branches above your fence line. You'd assume they're dead to the world, right? But here's the hidden truth. Many of these birds, especially the ones in your garden, practice something scientists call unihemispheric, slow-wave sleep. Basically, half their brain is asleep and the other half is wide awake. One eye is open. One hemisphere is on guard duty. They're resting, sure, but they're also maintaining this low-level awareness of everything around them. And that includes your house, the perimeter of your yard, the sounds leaking out from your walls in the middle of the night. While you're fast asleep, they're partially awake, tracking the vibe of your home. Any tiny deviation, a weird new sound, a shift in the air, they register it. And if something really changes, the whole system goes on alert. So, without even knowing it, you've got this network of silent sentinels lining your garden. They aren't trying to do you a favor, but functionally, they're watching, they're listening. They're woven into the sensory fabric of your home in a way that's way older and way more tuned in than any tech you've got in your pocket. And this brings us to what this relationship actually is. You thought you were just feeding birds. You figured you were a passive observer, just tossing out some seed and stepping back. But by now, you can probably see what was really going on. You became part of their survival map. You became a fixed point in their world, a place of safety, of consistency, just a reliable presence. And in return, without anyone ever saying a word, they became part of yours, watching the perimeter, running their quiet, half-awake patrols in the dark, arriving each morning not just because the sun came up, but because you did. That handful of seed, it was never really about the food. It was the opening gesture of a contract, and they accepted it. Honestly, they've honored it every single day since. There's something in that worth sitting with. The idea that connection doesn't always need language or eye contact or even conscious intent. Sometimes it just takes showing up, being consistent, being a safe harbor. And they noticed. So, here's what I want to ask you, and I really want to know your answer in the comments. Think about the birds in your own yard. Have you ever noticed a specific bird you recognize by its shape or the way it acts that seems to respond to you differently than the others? Maybe it lands a little closer. Maybe it watches how you move in a way the rest don't. Maybe it shows up before everyone else like it heard something only it was listening for. What's one specific moment where you felt like a bird in your garden actually saw you, not just the food, not just the routine, but you? Drop it below. I have a feeling the answers are going to tell us something pretty special about what these quiet, half-awake watchers have understood about us all along.